Hey guys, so I know I haven't posted a video in a while and I'm sorry. I've just been really busy and I've been doing things. So I haven't had a lot of time to actually get on YouTube and record anything that I've been doing. So I'm just gonna kind of like jam pack this whole video just full of what I've been doing lately because it's all pretty interesting. 2 weeks ago I went to a city in Germany called Weimar. And Weimar is like one of those really, really old cities that it just has so much culture and just history just pops out at you, and it's a hands-on experience. I went there with 47 or 45 other exchange students from the Pacific Northwest, and it was so awesome just to see everybody from Alaska, North and South Dakota, to Washington, to California. I mean, there's a wide range of us, 48 students. And we went to Weimar as a group. It was, we had to go. There was no in between. And so we ended up going and seeing the concentration camp up there. And, we all got there. It was actually rather cold outside. Like, it was just a cold weekend. Like, lately it's been really hot here. Like, it's been in the 60s. And we walked through this concentration camp and we came to the gates at the very front. Like, there's a building with like the gates to like enter and close, and then you have like the barbed wire fences all the way around. And on this gate, I'm going to translate it because I don't remember what it says in German because it's only like 3 words. They said that it roughly translates over, it says, every man for his own on this gate. And so we went into this concentration camp, and the second you hear the gate click behind you, you kind of get like this eerie feeling that, you're inside this camp. Like, you're inside. The only way out is going back out through that gate. Um, and so we walked through this concentration camp, and it was really interesting for me because, in America we don't have things like that. We just don't have them because that wasn't part of our cultural difference. Like, we didn't, you know. Um, and we walked into the crematory. If you don't know what crematory is, use Google. I'm not going to talk about it. Um, we walked into this crematory on the first level. Of course, there's like 2 levels, the underground and the top ground. And the second you walk in that door, you get this feeling as if somebody just laid 1,000 pounds on your back and told you to walk. You can't breathe. The air is so heavy inside, and I wasn't the only one like this. Like, outside this crematory, me and my friends were like sitting there going, "Oh, this is so cool! This is interesting. It's like better to see it in real life than in history books." And the second you walk in that door, you look at each other and you can't talk. You can't even open your mouth. You can't do it. So in this crematory, they had like the operating tables and like stuff like that, so they could do what they needed to do. And then they also had the cremators open, so we could like look at them and see how they worked and all that kind of stuff. And then we went into the basement, and that place just, the plaque on the wall explained what it was, and it was bad. Let's just put it that way. I'll give you a quick little run through of it. There's these giant hooks on the walls, and what they did was they would take women, men, children down there, tie a rope around their neck, and hang them from the hooks. And just wait for them to strangle themselves, and then send them upstairs on an elevator and have them cremated. And this was, like the gays and, people, the Jews, mainly the Jews and the gays, because those are the people that they mostly did not like. So, that's just how it worked. And so after we left the crematory and we went back outside, I was still like, oh my god, what did I just like see in there? Like, whoa. Um, and then we walked into um, it was like another building that used to be the storage house. And we walked through that, and that had like a museum inside of it. Of course, all the buildings that they actually kept the campers in were all torn down because Weimar had, like, once the Weimar citizens came up to see it, they were so ashamed of what was going on, they tore down every single wood building, which was all the buildings. It's you just can't imagine it until you actually see it for real. Like in a history book, you're like, oh, okay, this is history. This is what happened back then. This is. And then when you see it in movies, you're like, oh, this is sick, but it still happened back then. But the second you actually walk in those gates and you're trapped there, you kind of get like the feeling like, holy shit, this is real. Like this isn't like in a history book or on a TV or a movie. This is real. I'm here for real. And so it's really interesting to just see, um, and obviously Weimar was one of those cities that actually had a good outcome because the British and the Americans and everybody came in and helped the people out at the concentration camp and got them all out and took over, which made me happy, So that was rather interesting. That was pretty cool, I think. We also toured around Weimar, saw some old buildings and stuff like that. Weimar is actually a city where a very famous poet comes from. I think his name is like Goethe. I don't remember his name, but it sounds like goat, to be quite honest with you. And we walked through his house, and that was really weird because the way that they lived back then, like you hear about like on TV back then, like a man and a woman weren't allowed to be shown in the same bed or anything like that because you just don't show that on TV. Well, that's actually the way that they lived here back then. Like they weren't sleeping in the same bed. Like the man had his own room and the woman had her own room. And when the man wanted to have sex, he would come to her. He would come to her. And that's the way it worked. They never slept in the same bed. Never. And I think that's so weird, but very interesting as well. And it was just really cool to walk through these buildings and just see things that, you can't see in America or, because we don't have that history. I mean, we started when Christopher Columbus landed on Cuba. Where did he land? He landed somewhere else. And then more ships came over, something weird. Um, but yeah, it's just weird to think like this actually happened. And most people from America or Canada or wherever you come from, like if you've never visited like places like this, like it clicks in your head like, oh, okay, this is actually for real. This isn't just in my history book. And that's how it worked with me. I've had some amazing encounters with history lately because my good friend Enos, she's from Poland, and her and her sister live here, and her grandma and everybody, and her grandma's Polish and stuff like that. And so Enos, she pulls out this book that's her sister's, and she hands it to me. And I look at it for a second, and it has a swastika on it. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, what is this book? And she goes, that's Hitler's autobiography. And I'm all like, why does your sister have this book? And she says, because back then, everybody had to have this book. It was like Hitler's law or something weird like that. Well, today, this book is blacklisted in Germany, and if you have it, you get to take it away by the police, and you can get fined, and all this other stuff. And, like, I was holding this book, right? And I'm just, like, looking inside this book, and I'm holding it. And this book is, God knows how old. I'm actually flipping the pages. I'm actually, like, reading this book, and I go, wow. I'm actually holding something that should be in a museum, not in my hands. And it's such a cool piece of history that it, I can't even explain it. I think being an exchange student has helped me understand culture and the history behind a culture and all these really cool things. And I wish more people could be exchange students and do it for free like I am. And the other 300 to 400 exchange students from America this year are. I think it's very important to leave your comfort zone, go meet new people in other countries, go spend a year without your mommy and daddy helping you. Just go try something different. Um, And I'm going to put a link in the description for ASSE. They're the people who give you the whole free ride scholarship to Germany. There are some things that aren't free. If you live in Oregon like I do, you have to buy your own plane ticket to Washington, D.C., and then they pay for all your international flights. So they pay for your flight to Germany and your flight back to Washington, D.C., and then your parents have to figure it out from there. But I will give that in the description, and hopefully some of you guys are actually interested in this because this is very big, and I think more young people should be able to experience a culture, not just from a history book or what you're told, because what we're told in America is that people here eat, sausages every day, and they eat freaking just, typical German food. That's all they eat, and they don't. They're just like us. They like pasta, they like pizza, they like Nutella. Actually, Nutella. Oh, Nutella here. Nutella in America, man, you take like a little bitty bit and like make sure it spreads out the whole thing. Here, you can just take a full like spoon and just they don't care. But I want more people to be able to reach out and go, I do have a chance to do this, and I want to have that chance. Not to mention the drinking age in Germany is 18. Good plus. And if you're 16, you can drink beer and wine. So it's not like you're completely secluded. And I just want to kind of help everybody out to find a way to get there. I don't know when I'm going to post my next video because I'm actually going to another city for Easter holiday next week. Not this upcoming week, the week after. I have for 2 weeks. I'm going there. And then, I'm just jam-packed. I will try to upload a video in like 5 weeks or something weird like that. I don't know when. Next time I have time. So I'm hoping that some of you do go check out ASSE, ask questions, get your foot in the door. This year's already finished. You're going to have to start next year. The deadline is at like the end of December or something weird like that. And then you find out during your spring break of the same year. And you have to go through the whole selection process and interviews and stuff like that. And nothing's more exciting than when you hear, oh, you got an interview. You're like, oh, sweet, I got an interview. And the next thing you know, you're an exchange student. And you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it doesn't matter where you live in the States, you just go through different programs. If you're from the Pacific Northwest, you go through ASSE. I don't know any of the other parts of the country, but they do have their own separate organizations. And then once you come to Germany, you go through Give. Then you switch things when you come here. So I'm hoping that some of you look into it, and it will definitely change your life in many different ways. You learn that the stereotypes that they say about Germans are not true, and then you learn that there are stereotypes about Americans also, such as they're all racist, they're all fat because they eat at McDonald's. I am not fat, thank you. It's stereotypes. And you learn that every single culture has their own stereotype, and you learn what's true and what's not true. And I hope that some of you will look into it because it's really, really important that you get your foot in the door and really start your life off and just have a good time because you only get one try in life. So, I'll leave you with that, and everything will be in the description, so, thank you for subscribing or liking or anything like that. I appreciate it. Thank you.